Okay guys, so today we're going to do a three-dimensional drawing or isometric sketch of a hexagon, pentagon, or octagon. Alright, I'm going to do it on the hexagon first, page 21, and then you can just follow the same steps for the octagon. Alright, just remember you're going to use different set squares for these. Alright, so the instructions say the given figure shows the top view and front view of the model. So I wrote T there for top and F there for front. Draw to scale 1:1 an isometric view of the model. Show an auxiliary view. Now, the auxiliary view is what I want to teach you today. That is basically called the helping view. So, you're going to draw this hexagon in the corner here that they give you, and you're going to draw it according to the correct scale. And once you have that, you can draw an isometric sketch. The reason we draw an auxiliary view is because these corners here, these angles, it is a non-isometric line. What that means is you can't just figure it out using your set squares. You need to figure it out in a different way. All right, and that's with anything that is not in this angle. So any other isometric drawings that you've drawn before is sometimes not at this angle because it's slanted or something, and because of that we call it a non-isometric drawing. And it's usually okay if it's just one line, but in this case there's 4 lines that is at non-isometric drawings, or lines. So we're going to have to use our imagination and follow certain steps. So the first thing is what they give you. They give you A. A is my starting point. So if you look at the corner here, the given corner that they give you for the isometric, the chicken foot basically, that is A, meaning this is going to be at the bottom there. All right, and they don't tell it to you, or they don't tell you that, but this corner here is your A corner as well. All right, so my chicken foot is there, and there's basically a gap in my corner, which makes it very difficult. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to draw your hexagon according to scale. So if my sides are 23, it means everything here is going to be 23. All right, so at the top here you need to use your set squares and draw your hexagon from above. There's 2 ways to firstly get your first starting point. So this top line is basically at this cross. All I did was remember every side of my hexagon is the same, so 23. So I measured 11,5 on the left and 11,5 on the right, meaning it became 23. Now you'll see mine is a bit skewed because my paper is very skewed. So I'm just going to redo them. And then once you have that, you can move on to the next step. All right. So it's 23. There we go. That is my starting point. This is my ending point. All right, like so. You can also use your compass by using 11,5, put your sharp point there, pencil mark, sharp point, pencil mark. All right, that's also another easy way. Now, the next thing that I like to do is I want to get my center line. So I'm going to firstly just draw a little line down here. All right, just a very light construction line. Remember, your auxiliary view can be A-type lines or B-type. All right, but because it's not one of your most main drawings, eventually, your main drawings is going to be a B-type line. All right, but it doesn't really matter as long as you do it neatly in this case. All right, now remember, to get these angles, use your set square, that is your 60, 30 degrees. And I am just starting to draw it like so. All right, you can also do this process in the circular with your compass, drawing the circle first and then getting your angles. That's also fine. I'm just going to do a different method today. Take your sharp point at the corner, get the measurement that they have here, meaning 23. All right, you need to be quite accurate here. 23, and I'm making a little mark on both sides. Like so. Right, and then I have these corners. Now I'm just going to get these angles. All right, like so, and just flip it around like so, and then I'm cheating a little bit. Okay, now there's my hexagon. Right. Okay, now next step that I'm going to do, I'm just making it neater, is I'm going to use the measurements here. But what I like to do personally is I want to get my center line here as well, and I want to do a little block here. Okay, so all that I did now is I added my center lines. So I took this corner to this corner and just made a little cross. And then I also just made a square. So I took the furthest points of every area and I just made a little block. The reason I wanted to make a block is because with isometrics it's easier to work inside blocks, as you hopefully have noticed. So now that we have our auxiliary view, I'm going to start first getting my angles right. So chicken foot, remember, you need to use the angles given. And I'm just extending it for this. Alright, I'm definitely not going to use everything, but I like to just have it in order to work with it, so I can use everything in the right angles. Alright, then I want to get my corner. Now remember I said the A corner here that they give me is going to be there. Alright, so in this case, that is A that they give me there. Okay, now this is according to scale, how it should be. So now you're just going to use a compass from this corner to the center point. Well, in this case, I'm going to do it this corner. From here to here, all right, I'm just going to measure, make a little mark there. All right, and from this corner to this one, I'm going to use that distance that they give me. And I am just going to make a little mark there, starting at A. All right. Now you'll see how the differences are from the distance. It's because if this is my corner A, all right, and I took my measurement from this corner, which is the chicken foot that they give me there, all right, I just measured from here to there, and that is this distance, and the same for this to there. So remember, there's a gap here in my corner for my isometrics. That's why. Now I will be able to connect the dots, but I'm going to just carry on a little bit for now. I want to get this solid line. The reason I'm only doing this side is because this is also at an angle, so it's very difficult to find it. So I'm going to do this one next, but I just want to get this line first. So compass on the one side and pencil on the other, get that measurement. And I'm just going to make a little mark there. All right, and then the same for these two again. I just want to get this distance here and there. All right, and I'm making a little mark. Okay, so there we go. There's the first big part done. I'm just going to, for you to just see a little bit better, I'm going to make this corner and draw it so long. You don't need to do this already. I'm just doing it so you can see more or less what is going on. And now remember, this part is actually here. So I'm making a block again. Remember, that is why I like working in blocks. Because with isometrics, you'll know you can work inside this. All right, so let's continue with there. Okay, there we go. Now I know the next one's going to be more or less there. All right, don't do it like dark here, do everything in construction lines. Now I want to get this angle, which is here. So compass, sharp point on the corner, because I have that corner now. Pencil on the side. Oops, there we go. Like so. And there we go. All right. Now I have the top part here. All right, so get your block. Another way you can do this, and I'll show you now, is just to draw the block first. All right, so you have the measurements of the block, so draw the block first and then work inside the block. All right, I'm just doing it a bit differently now. I'm just projecting. That's the beautiful thing about isometrics. You can just project, and now there's the top corner or the top line. There's my next corner. Right, and there we go. Now, all I'm doing is I'm making the dots for my hexagon. Easy peasy. Okay. So, I'm going to darken it now, so you can see. Yeah. So, don't darken everything immediately, okay? You'll see some of them I'm going to leave open and just light, very light, with my pencil, because I need to be able to do three-dimensional, remember? And there's something that's going to be at the top. because you see there's height to this thing. All right, so I'm just going to do it lightly. Pencil like so, and a non-isometric line here. There we go. And then this part. So you'll see the angles are very strange when you do this. Okay. Now, they said, remember, it's an isometric sketch. Now I need to get the height, 65. So all I'm doing is from this corner, I'm measuring 65 up. Okay. And again, you can draw your block. Because, I mean, then you can know when to stop projecting it up. That's it. There we go. And this corner, remember, construction lines still. Construction lines. Okay. Now, all I'm doing is I'm projecting this up. So I know where to stop. There's my one dot. I'm just making dots so you can see. There's my one dot. Alright. There's my one dot. Now you just follow the edge. Easy. I'll take this up. There we go. Don't make dots like me though, please. Alright. This is just so I know where to stop. Alright, and now connecting the dots again. Okay, now this time I'm just going to do everything in blue pen so you can see. And I'm not going to use my set square with the correct angles. I'm just going to follow my dots. And in this case, you can do all the lines, because if you look at it from above, you're going to see all the lines and the edges and corners. Okay. There we go. Alright, I'm just going to make everything darker. That should be darker, and just do it in blue pen, just so it can stand out, because the black pen is not working. Okay. Alright, this one. This corner you can also see. And I'm just going to darken the bottom lines as well, so you can see them. Alright, remember there's certain parts that you won't be able to see because it's three-dimensional and it's hiding at the back. Now, they did not say show any hidden detail, okay? If you were to show hidden detail, these lines you would make dots. I'm just going to do it like this with my hidden detail lines to make sure, just so you know. In this case, you don't need to. Please don't do it if they don't ask you. But if they do ask you for hidden detail, you know what to do. Okay. And there you go. All right. That is your hexagon and isometrics. Okay, so all you need to remember is first always do an auxiliary view. Auxiliary view is not just for this. It can be for circles, it can be for triangles, it can be for anything that you are not sure about the angles, okay? And, I mean, you won't be penalized for it, so it's good. You need to have it. Now, in this case, it's an octagon, all right? Remember, with your octagon, you need to use this triangle. Like that. That is your angles. All right. And again, they're just 17 millimeter. You can just use that, and then you can carry on like that. And with a pentagon, remember, you need to have a 72-degree angle over here. Okay. So use your protractor to get your angles, and that's how you do it.